Hey all, so back with war number 3, and I will say right up front, I was not feeling my best for this war. Didn't really feel like it was something I could wait out, and so you're gonna see some dumb stuff. But first up, we've got Ultron versus Domino, and thankfully this is pretty simple, right? We've seen versions of this already. Play around the Indestructible, that's all that really matters. Our damage is pretty much all coming from, not all coming from, but concentrated in our Special 2 and our Heavy anyway, so we don't really care, right? There's an unfazed proc, that's fine. We're not concerned about that. Ultron's functions can fail, or can't fail, but parry still can, so we're a little careful there. We wait that out, and then throw this. Could have been way better. See, that's dumb thing number 1, because she wasn't really playing into me, but I still should have waited a little bit to get at least one degen up before throwing the Special 2 to get the Cauterize attack bonus. Throwing the Heavy into the Indestructible I don't really mind, because we still got most of the duration out of it, and the fight clearly went fine, but calling out some suboptimal things there that definitely slowed us down just a touch. Moving on to Section 2. First fight is a Tactic Mystic. We have Luke Cage. Pretty simple, right? To specifically call it out, the risk for this node is if you dash back a lot, he can heal. But Wong doesn't really have any healing of his own if you don't bring energy damage, which there's not a lot of in the science class in the first place, especially with Photon blacklisted. And that basically means that the only threat at all is if I let the slow fall off and he goes unstoppable after his Special 1. There's realistically nothing to this. This is basically just making sure that we, quote, have to bring a science character here. And I'm not sure that it fully does that, because this tactic is just so strong that there are a lot of cosmics I could have done that with too, to be completely honest. Now, here's dumb stuff number 2. Although this one I knew was coming, right? This fight basically plays how I thought it would go, including the spot where I get hit. At least I think I do somewhere. So to walk through the theory for this fight, I am well aware that he nullifies my Big Fury at the beginning, right? I am also aware that he's going to nullify most of my power gains. Now, often I would prefer to play... Yep, that's just... I knew I was going to get hit somewhere. Often I would prefer to play this dexing. The combination of my dashback and his medium means that I don't always feel like I have perfect control over my dex. And so you're going to see places in here where just I try to dex before buffet comes back on while buffet is off cooldown, before my power gain comes back right there, and it just doesn't happen, and so my power gain gets eaten. It slows things down. It's not the end of the world. That's just what this is. That was not intentional. I just lost track of the fact that the regen was going to come back at a very inopportune moment. I will say, blocking the Special 1 periodically for a single disintegrate is part of the plan, because we know we can willpower heal that, and that's going to allow us to work around the power detonation damage we take, which is reduced by Dread, but only 20%, because we haven't taken another fight with Serpent yet. It was just a poorly timed striker there. That one was unfortunate. But I'm going to zoom out a little bit and talk about the overall strategy of this fight, because you may have noticed we're 90 seconds in and our opponent is at 100%. That is not a surprise to me, right? You'll also notice we're at 16 Cold Force charges and 4 passive Furies. Because every time he power drains us, we resist it, but we also ramp. Every time he nullifies one of our buffs using Buffet, we ramp. Every time anything here happens, pretty much, we ramp. And so the theory of this fight was, I'm going to get a passive Pierce up. He's going to stop glancing. The things that are going to make him annoying for anybody else are going to turn off, And eventually, I'm going to line up enough damage in a small enough window that he's going to fall over. I was pretty confident in this. You see, we're now up to 11 Furies. But I won't pretend that my heart rate wasn't going up. Because that right there, that's the money, right? We took off a full third of his health with a single special one. There goes another third. He's regenning now, sure, but like we are hitting very, very hard. And we just need to get to another special one pretty much to close this out. See, I go ahead and block both of those. I know he's going to regen, but I just didn't want him to have as much time to regen before I could do that. And so that works out perfectly. So 3 minutes. And for most of that, he was at full, but that was according to plan. I would not necessarily recommend that fight to everybody. It was a bit nerve-wracking. But it worked. And it worked exactly how we thought it would work. So, would send again, asterisk. Moving on, we got Weapon X. I would say again, but technically he's in a slightly different spot than he was last time. That's fine, it just means that we can't parry heavy him. Luckily, strikers let you land heavies against stun immunes. Honestly, I don't talk about that much. I do think that strikers are overpowered. The fact... Specifically because the game already has stuns on the special one, right? If we could go back and get rid of the champions that have guaranteed stuns on special ones, strikers would worry me less. But one really cool thing that they do is that I feel like they periodically make heavies safe against stun immunes. Obviously they do that. I don't feel that they do that. But I feel that they do it at about the right rate, right? It feels like there are characters where if you couldn't get their heavy and they just felt bad, and it closed them off in a lot of fights, but strikers bring it back, and that is definitely one of my favorite things about what they have done for gameplay in this game. Hey, stupid stuff number 3. Just, I think I canceled my own input there, and so didn't land my last basic, and threw the special too early, actually, not too late. It happens. That's fine. This is a very, very good fight. I still don't think we trigger the regen, even with all the extra incinerate here. Another unfazed trigger. Doesn't matter. It's happening as we back off. There's the special too. This one actually had some, some degens to cauterize, and we're good to go before we even get the striker off and heavy again. So yeah, very simple fight. It is worth noting, of course, it's a very simple fight because I have a rank 3 Ultron. I'm not going to pretend that's common. I didn't get mine from raids, but I did get him from a special crystal that had a chance to drop him, and then put a gem and 159 stones into him. Anyway, next up we have this Kindred. This would be a terrible, terrible idea in any other season, right? We have no specials, we have no way to break the root, we have no access to our concussion. We would die taking this fight with Luke any other time. But decay means we don't care about these degens. We don't care about the degens we're definitely going to take from the root. Honestly, I thought about just going ahead and pushing him red because we don't really care about the special 3, and he's probably not going to get to another one. Kindred is, of course, very happy to throw special 2s, and so we're not even having to trigger decks. We don't have to worry about that. Just baiting out heavies, and there's the root. We're just going to dodge it in place, doing only 1 hit after the root because we know it'll knock them back. And there we go. Even when unstoppable at the end, could have gotten hit. We had the Indestructible on cooldown. There's your reason for not pushing them red. But yeah, very simple fight. This one, less simple of a fight. But for those of you who don't know, Decay does allow you to counter Enchantress's abjuration damage as long as you have enough debuffs up, and you are going to see that come into play in one spot. I would have played it differently if we didn't have Decay. Luke is still good for Enchantress outside of this, but she's a bit of a jerk. Things fall off, and it's definitely a good thing that I had that safety net. Dumb stuff number 4 right there. Definitely should have just interrupted that heavy earlier. My fault. Anyway, we get our first 2 concussions up. Feels good. I actually don't know where that fury is from. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, we keep going. We are staying on top of her spells pretty well, right? Generally, the most difficult thing in a fight like this is the intercept, right? Because if she doesn't play into it, then this can happen. See, we go for it again. Yeah, finally get it. But that was a little touch and go, right? And while we were doing that, we lost access to our concussions, we lost access to our exhaustions. Now, right there, if my reflexes were better, I would have thrown the special 2 when I noticed our last hit tick up to 5 exhaustions, but I didn't notice it. And so we had to kind of get lucky and wait it out and do that on the next combo. But want to shout that out, I did technically have the opportunity earlier. We go ahead and throw another heavy here. Oh, I forgot we changed the boss node. It's got the subterfuge knockdown one. I honestly haven't even noticed that. I haven't taken a boss yet this season. I definitely didn't last season. Anyway, going for another intercept. We get lucky right there. And I want to call out, the other mistake I should have made was I was getting fancy. I was like so confident that Luke had this, and he does. That I decided to go for the special 3 because I like the animation and I like the trauma. And what that means is our concussions fell off. Because of course they did. I knew they were going to. It's fine. An important note here, we have the Striker, and so even outside of Decay, she only has 2 spells. That Debilitate would have meant that she only counted as having 1. We would have had the Abjuration damage. I still think Luke is hitting hard enough that probably would have insta-gibbed us, just to call it out. But that's okay. This is Decay, changes how we play, allows us to do that. And Enchantress boss, with some misplay, down in 2.5 minutes. So, that's my war. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I knew what I was doing to my assignments when I ranked Ultron. I even said that to my battle group. Nobody else has a rank 3 Ultron. I knew I was going to be using him probably every war. It's been every war so far. I just assigned him to myself before recording this again for a 4th time. So I'm sorry if that bores y'all, but I'm enjoying it. Rank 3 Ultron feels fantastic. And it is nice to be valuable and have one of those rare champions like that. It is, of course, a blast using Luke. He continues to be amazing. And I am glad that I got to bring Serpent in there for a, let's go with medium advised fight. I'm not going to call it ill-advised. It went the way I intended it to, but yeah. Like I said, that one has an asterisk on it. Anyway, hope y'all enjoyed this again, and until next time, thank you so much for watching, and take care.